Measures of spread, creating box and whisker plots. Measures of spread, terminology. The first thing you want to know is how to calculate the range. The range is the difference between the greatest and the least values in a set of data. The highest minus the lowest. The mean is the sum of all the values in a set of data added together, divided by the number of values in the set of data. The median is the middle value when the data is ordered from least to greatest. Now, let's continue on with our terminology. A quartile. If you take the set of data and divide it into 4 intervals of equal numbers of data, the 3 values are called quartiles. The first quartile is 1/4, the middle quartile is 1/2, and the third quartile is 3/4. The variance. If you take the mean of the squares of the deviations from the mean for a set of data, that's called your variance. Here is the formula that you could use. The variance is equal to the first data element minus the mean squared, plus the second data element minus the mean squared, and so on for all the elements. Add that all together and divide by n, which is the number of elements in the data set. We will do an example to show you how this works. Another terminology you need to know is the standard deviation. You can calculate the standard deviation by taking the square root of the variance. But what does this mean? The standard deviation is the typical distance of a particular value from the mean. We again will look at this later. The greater the standard deviation, the greater the distance, the spread of the data. Quartiles. The 3 values that divide a set of data into 4 intervals with equal numbers of elements. The interquartile range is the range of the central half of a set of data when arranged from least to greatest. It measures how closely the data clusters around its mean. Now, let's focus on how to make a box and whisker plot. What is it? A graph representing the first quartile, the median, and the third quartile represents or is represented by a box and whisker plot. The least and greatest data are represented by the lines, which we call whiskers, extending from the box. Here is an example of a blank one, but how do you fill it in? Let's take a look at this example. Arjun works part-time selling cell phones. He recorded the number of cell phones he sold each month for the last 12 months. Here are his results. The first thing we need to do is to find the median, the first quartile, and the third quartile. Then we're going to display our data in a box and whisker plot. Here is the solution. Order the data from least to greatest. Find the median. There are 12 data elements. The median is the mean of the 2 middle values, 25 and 39. So the median would be 25 plus 39 divided by 2, which would give us the value 32. Note, the median tells us that half of the monthly sales were more than 32 phones and half were fewer than 32 phones. Step 3, determine the first quartile. To do this, find the median of the lower half of the data. So we take from the smallest to the median. Since there still is an even number of values, the mean will be the two middle values, 13, 17. The mean then would be 13 plus 17 divided by 2, which is 15. Now, determine the third quartile. Find the median of the upper half of the data. You have 6 elements, so you need to find the mean of the two middle numbers, 43 and 49. The median then would be 43 plus 49 divided by 2, which is 46. Now, taking these points, the first and third quartiles are the boundaries for the central half of the data. They show that half the monthly sales were between 15 and 46 phones. The interquartile range is the difference between the third quartile, 46, and the first quartile, 15. So the interquartile range is 31. Now, we're ready to draw the box and whisker plot. Draw a number line with values from 0 to 70. The minimum value is 6 and the maximum value is 62. So we want to draw a horizontal line segment of this number line from 6 to 62. Now, draw a vertical line segment at the first quartile, 15. Draw a vertical line segment at the median, 32. Draw a vertical line segment at the third quartile, 46. Now, join the vertical line segments to form a box. Fill in the box. Add the whisker ends. Label the key values. The whiskers, the first quartile, the median, and the third quartile. Now it's time to try this yourself.